The UN's World Happiness Report, released in 2019, found that Finland is the happiest place in the world, which followed on from 2018, which also saw Finland place in the top spot.
Finland is the happiest place in the world. What's up, guys? It's Dwayne, back again for another video, back again for the reaction, and today's a great day. Do you know why? Because it's another Finland day. Finland. Fin and land. 101 facts about Finland. I want to know the 101 facts, so without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
Greetings, motherfuckers! My name is Sam, and today we're travelling northwards to the land of salty licorice, eccentric sports, and steamy naked blonde people.
Is that true?
Yes, we're going to be learning all about Europe's less well-known but actually quite badass countries, where rye bread is king and the metalheads roam like wild horses. Magnificent. But what does nearly every Finnish person have in their home? How did Finland beat Italy at their own game? And in billions of years, when the sun swells in size, engulfing the Earth in fiery oblivion, will Nokia phones fly off into space or just sit bubbling on the sun's surface like the wonders of indestructibility that they are?
This is going quite
questions
left.
Can be answered, so grab your Finnish flags, make yourself a nice sandwich on rye bread, and strap in for a white-knuckle thrill ride.
Rye bread, is that what you guys like? Is that your favourite type of bread in Finland? Let me know in the comment section below.
Through 101 facts about Finland. Before we kick off though, let's talk about the sponsors of this here video, Surfshark, which we must mention before we finish this intro. Finish like Finland and
should we skip the
Surf the web? Basic to having a VPN.
Let's skip it, guys.
Number 1.
There we go.
Finland, officially known as the Republic of Finland, is a Nordic country in northern Europe that borders Norway to the north, Russia to the east, the Gulf of Finland and the Baltic Sea to the south, and Sweden and the Gulf of Bothnia to the west.
Okay.
It's a cool little country for a number of reasons, a further 100 of which we're going to get into right the heck now. Ready? Ready. Number 2. If the archaeological finds from Wolf Cave are the result of Neanderthal activity, the first people inhabited the area now known as Finland as early as 130,000 years ago.
Wow.
Fast forward around 9,000 years ago, a number of people, including the ancestors of the Sami people, first arrived in Finland. These groups moved north into the area now known in English as Lapland during the first millennium.
That's where Santa Claus is from.
BC, when the ancestors of modern Finns arrived on the scene. Number 3. The first written sources that mention Finland date back to the 12th and 13th centuries, when Finland became something of a battleground between the competing nations of Sweden and the Novgorod Republic.
Yeah, I've heard that you guys have had a lot of friction. You Nordic countries have had a lot of friction with each other in the past.
Which was basically a demo version of Russia. A series of religious conflicts known as the Swedish Crusades brought Catholicism to Finland, while Novgorod and the Orthodox Church pushed westwards from the east. Number 4. The two sides struggled for dominance until the signing of the Treaty of Nöteborg in 1323, which gave most of what is now southern Finland to Sweden, while eastern and northern Finland went to Novgorod. Finland was getting carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey, without much consideration for the native Finnish population.
So if half of Finland used to be part of Sweden, do a lot of people in Finland in the southern part of Finland speak Swedish? Let me know in the comment section. That's interesting.
Population who, in this analogy, live on the turkey. It's not great, but let's continue. Number 5. After the Treaty of Nöteborg, Finnish history is Swedish history for around 500 years, during which what is now Finland was merely a group of provinces within Sweden. Finland was administered in accordance with Swedish traditions and legal systems, which cemented Finland's Western Europe cultural identity. Number 6. Only decades after the Treaty of Nöteborg was signed, Finland was devastated by the Black Death, which wiped out a third of the population.
That was savage, the Black Death. I heard everyone learned about that in school. Was that most of Europe? I could be wrong. Wasn't that most of Europe? I could be wrong, but I heard that the Black Death was most of Europe.
Population. According to one folk tale, the plague killed the entire population of the southern Finnish town of Espoo, except for only a young girl and a monk. Sadly, the monk eventually succumbed to the disease himself, at which point the girl climbed the church tower and tolled its bell in tribute. This signalled her presence to the only other survivor in the area, who would later become her husband, and together, the couple helped to repopulate the town of Espoo. Probably not true, but a nice story nonetheless, eh? Number 7. During the period in which Finland was little more than a region of Sweden, Swedish naturally became the dominant language among the ruling classes.
That's
and
why I
was
asked.
the principal language of administration and education.
Wow. Okay. So it was very, very well integrated into Finland society. Like, it was in your educational system, literature. I'm guessing was like loads of books with a Swedish language. Yeah, let me know, guys, if you're from Finland, let me know if you can speak Swedish or you can understand Swedish.
Finnish, on the other hand, was the language of the peasantry, local courts, and the clergy, who were the only members of the educated classes who would be able to speak Finnish well. This distinction cemented the legacy of Swedish in the history of Finland, and even today forms a significant part of Finnish culture.
Right.
Number 8. The Reformation, started by Luther in the early 16th century, and I don't mean Idris Elba, by the way, eventually reached Sweden and Finland, at which point the Catholic Church was supplanted by the Lutheran faith. Suck it, Catholicism. Sorry if my priest is watching this. Number 9. At around this time, the various Finnish groups gradually developed a sense of unity, and Finland saw a surge in Finnish language culture.
Okay.
The Bishop of Turku, Mikael Agricola, created the first comprehensive writing system for Finnish, which remains to this day. In 1548, Agricola translated the New Testament into Finnish, and roughly 100 years later, in 1642, the entire Bible appeared in Finnish for the first time.
Wow.
Number 10. Throughout the 18th...
So you were reading the Bible in Swedish, even a language that wasn't even yours. It's the same.
19th century, Sweden's power began to decline. Eager to exploit their neighbours' frailty, what is now Finland was annexed by Russia in 1809, becoming an autonomous part of the Russian Empire known as the Grand Duchy of Finland.
Okay.
Number 11. The Finnish national movement gained momentum while under Russian control. In 1863, Finnish became an official administrative language in the region, and Finland's legislative assembly was convened for the very first time in over 50 years. The Conscription Act of 1878 gave Finland its very own army too, which is an important part of being a country as it allows you to intimidate and fight with other countries as the good Lord intended.
So I'm guessing also it sounds like you guys were part of Russia, or Russia was occupying Finland. Is that one of the reasons why you joined NATO? I'm guessing you guys have joined NATO. I think you have. Let me know if I'm wrong. Is it just to protect your borders because Russia is looking at legacy at the moment? They're looking at legacy. They're looking at countries that they occupied or they were part of their empire or whatever, and they're trying to take over. So I'm guessing that's why Finland has now joined NATO, to protect its borders from Russia. Yeah, let me know in the comment section if that's the reason.
Number 12. As the dawn of the 20th century approached, Russia became increasingly wary of growing Finnish nationalism. And in 1899, Nicholas II began attempts to curtail Finnish autonomy and impose Russian culture, language, and laws, commencing the so-called First Era of Oppression. The 1905 Russian Revolution offered some respite, and in 1906, Finland was granted its own parliament.
Only 1906 it was granted its own parliament. So Russia had involvement up until that. I understand now.
Number 13. 1906 is also notable as the year in which the Finnish people adopted universal suffrage, granting women the right to vote and stand for elections on the same basis as men.
Okay.
I know, weird, right? With this, Finland became the first European nation to grant equal voting rights for women.
Oh, that's
Number
pretty good.
14. Russian attempts to crack down on Finland's autonomy began afresh in 1909, constituting the second era of oppression. But luckily, the...
Guys, I did not know that Russia had that much involvement in Finland. It's quite scary. I didn't know that was... I literally did not know that.
The Finns didn't have to wait too long for a liberation. While Finland did not take part in the First World War, the conflict led to the collapse of the Russian Empire. And on the 6th of December 1917, Finland declared independence, which was recognised by the Bolshevik government 25 days later on the 31st of December. Congrats, Finland. Number 15.
Congrats.
Sadly, Finnish independence began with an eruption of violence only days after emancipation from Russian control, which left a power vacuum in the former duchy. This led to the outbreak of the Finnish Civil War, sounds nasty, in which the communist Reds waged war with the conservative Whites, the latter of which eventually emerged victorious after only 3.5 months. Roughly 39,000 people died in this conflict.
Wow.
Number 16. Finland is notable for the fact that it's never had its own monarchy. Well, okay, sort of. After the end of the Finnish Civil War, it was decided that Finland should get a fancy new monarchy, the head of which would be Frederick Charles of Hesse. Owing to the considerable assistance provided by the Germans...
How did you guys come to that conclusion, like, we're going to have a monarchy and we're going to choose this Frederick guy? Was he already of royal blood? You know, is he related to the German royal family, or what? How did you choose? You know, how do you elect a monarch?
That had helped deliver victory for the Finnish Whites. However, this plan fell apart after only a couple of months after the German defeat in the First World War, and so Finland emerged as a democratic republic.
Okay.
Number 17.
Finland
Finland fought against the Soviets on 2 occasions during the Second World War. First during the Winter War between 1939 and 1940, followed by the Continuation War between 1941 and 1944, a conflict in which Finland fought alongside Germany. Not a great look. The wars ended with Finland ceding significant areas of its territory to the Soviets, although in doing so, Finland managed to protect its independence. Number 18. However, by August of 1944, Finland had begun to hold secret talks with the Soviets, and had negotiated a peace by September. This required the expulsion of German troops, which resulted in Finland fighting Germany in the Lapland War between 1944 and 1945.
Right.
As such, Finland found itself in the quite unusual position of having effectively fought on both sides during the Second World War.
Wow. Finland you've had like a very turbulent past, right? Like, there's been a lot of unrest, and I didn't know any of this.
Number 19. Finland's peace treaty with Russia also required them to pay reparations. Of all the countries that were compelled to pay reparations following World War II, Finland is the only one known to have paid its full bill when it sent $300 million to the Soviet Union in 1952.
Wow.
Buy Finland a drink, they'll know you get... what? Number 20. Finland became a member of both the United Nations and Nordic Council in 1955, which sounds like something from Skyrim, but isn't. Nordic cooperation has led to many legislative and political similarities between Finland and its fellow Nords in Denmark, Norway, Sweden and Iceland, including free movement, the gradual development of a common and free labour market, an extensive welfare state and numerous cultural similarities.
Okay.
Number 21. After enduring a severe recession during the early 90s, Finland joined the EU in 1995, and was one of the first nations to adopt the euro, phasing out its previous currency, known as the marker, by 2002. Number 22. Today, Finland is a parliamentary republic consisting of 19 regions called maakunta in Finnish and landskap in Swedish. These regions are further divided into 317 municipalities, referred to as kunta in Finnish and kommun in Swedish. Finland also has a single autonomous region, the Åland Islands, which is the smallest region in the country and its only monolingually Swedish area. That means they only speak Swedish there.
Okay.
Number 23. Finns generally refer to their country as Suomi, which is a bit of a mystery as no one actually knows where that name came from. Some cunning linguists have suggested that both Suomi and Sami derive from the same Proto-Baltic word zeme, which was used to refer to a particular land or territory and the people living there. But again, not sure. Could be something completely different. Could mean ice cream. You never know. Number 24. Finland ranks very highly in numerous metrics of national performance, including education, civil liberties, human development, and overall quality of life.
Those are some good metrics. That's some good. To say you've had such a turbulent past with Russia and Germany and the war and all the different subsequent wars that you've fought in, and your country's been divided, conquered. You've had your independence. So much of your past is like, you know, battling. Well done, Finland, for, you know, turning it around and becoming a nation that is coveted. And people look at Finland with fondness and admiration. You know, when someone says to me Finland, I'm like, Santa Claus. I'm thinking, you know, really eccentric, heavy metal, rock and roll, like just interesting people. Like, I have nothing but a positive view of Finland, but your past has been so consumed with war And I think that's amazing that you've managed to come out of that. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say. It's very good.
Finland was ranked numero uno in the 2018 and 2019 Good Country Index, which attempts to measure what each country on Earth contributes to the good of humanity. So yeah, it's pretty legit. Number 25. And the accolades don't stop there. Turns out Finland has a lot more to rub in our miserable non-Finnish faces. The UN's World Happiness Report, released in 2019, found that Finland is the happiest place in the world, which followed on from 2018, which also saw Finland placed in the top spot.
Finland is the happiest place in the world. How do you even get those metrics? Like, how do they even measure that? That's incredible.
In fact, Finland is placed in the top 5 happiest countries in the World Happiness Report since 2012. What's their secret? Do they not have the news in Finland? Number 26.
Yeah.
Finland offers free education for students, even at university level.
It.
Amazingly, this also
free
applies
education.
to international students from the EU and EES. While non-EU nationals can also take advantage of Finland's commitment to free education by taking classes taught in Finnish or Swedish, or doctoral studies in any language. Wow, sounds lovely. Number 27. Due to its commitment to equal rights and emphasis on transparency, Finland boasts a particularly free press, currently sitting in the number 2 spot, beneath Scandi show-off's Norway. God damn it, Norway.
Okay.
Number 28. The latest Corruption Perceptions Index, published annually by the Berlin-based anti-corruption organisation Transparency International, ranked Finland as the 3rd least corrupt country on Earth, beaten only by the consistently left-off maps nation of New Zealand, which came in 2nd place, and its Nordic neighbour Denmark in 1st. Damn you, New Zealand and Denmark.
Okay.
Number 29. Passport holders from Finland can gain visaless entry to 187 countries, making it the joint 2nd most powerful passport in the world, along with Germany and South Korea.
Wow.
1st place goes to Singapore, the citizens of which enjoy visa-free travel to 189 nations around the world. Damn you, Singapore. Number 30. Finland's education system also ranks as one of the world's best, pumping out thousands of little blonde Einsteins into the world. That's a horrible image, forgive me. This is despite the fact that children don't start school until they're 7, and it's not compulsory to give them grades until the 8th grade.
What? You don't start school until 7 and it's not compulsory to give kids grades until the 8th grade. Let me just think about that. That is revolutionary. That is so good. Of course. I mean, like, why are we grading children? Period. Like, I remember being, like, 10 years old. No. 9 years old. And I remember going through, they're called SATs, tests, in when I was really young, and having anxiety at a young age. No child should be put through tests. If you guys have like the best educational system in the world, or one of the best, and you're not testing your children until the 8th grade, you're doing something right.
Number 31. In 2003, Finland elected Anneli Jäätteenmäki as its first female prime minister, making it the only country in the world to have both a female prime minister and president, a position then held by Tarja Halonen. Sadly, this cool little win for women was cut short after only 3 months, when Jäätteenmäki resigned amid a tinsy-wincy political scandal about using leaked secret state information for political purposes during an election campaign. Still, good while it lasted.
Oh dear.
Number 32. In 2010, Finland became the very first country in the world to make broadband a legal right for every one of its citizens. From the 1st of July...
What? What do you mean? You guys have made it a legal right to have broadband. Does that mean that it is mandatory for every citizen to get broadband for free? Let's continue.
By 2010, every Finn has had the right to a 1 Mbps broadband connection, guaranteeing all Finns decent access to the world of flame wars, nudity, and 101 facts.
Wow. You see, that... Why doesn't every country do that? I mean, that's how we commerce. That's how we communicate. That's how we live our lives. Our lives are on the internet now, you know, through social media, banking, everything's online. So it should be like electricity. It should be like water. It should be as cheap as water, actually. We shouldn't be spending loads of money on a broadband connection when we need it as society to function. Finland, you've got it right.
Baby. Number 33. Finland proudly boasts one of Europe's lowest prison populations, believed by some to be because 30% of all Finnish prisoners serve sentences in open prisons, in which they are famously well treated. People staying in open prisons are given keys to their rooms and have their own kitchens to cook in, and are free to go outside to work, study, and shop in town. They're even sometimes treated to supervise camping and fishing trips.
Wow. Guys, I feel like I'm proud of Finland, and I'm not even from Finland. That's amazing. You have such a low prison population because you treat prisoners like human beings and you rehabilitate your prisoners. That to me, and to say you have a history of being at war and being a tough nation, a strong nation, but treating people with kindness is what you lead with, is really powerful. Is really, really powerful. And if you're a Finn, is that the right word? A Finn? You should be really proud of your country to have come out of that time, that turbulent time in your history, and then you're able to treat people with kindness, treat criminals with kindness, and rehabilitate them and get them back into society and stop them reoffending. You're obviously doing something right, guys. Wow.
Number 34. However, some have suggested that Finland's soft-touch approach to imprisonment may also be why the country is known as the prison break capital of Europe. In 2013, 1,008... Sorry, I'm laughing. In 2013,
Okay.
In 2013, 1,084 escapes were recorded for every 10,000 prisoners of Finland.
Okay.
Miles ahead of second place Belgium, which has a pathetic prison escape rate of only 602 escapes for every 10,000. Come on, prisoners, up your game! Number 35. Finland has 2 official languages.
But there might have been escapes, but it's also said that you don't have many people incarcerated. So, you know?
Come on, prisoners, up your game!
You're still doing something really
Number 35.
correct.
Finland has 2 official languages, Finnish and Swedish. However, usage between the 2 tongues...
Swedish is an official language. That explains some of the earlier information.
is highly imbalanced, with approximately 90% of Finns speaking Finnish as their first language compared to only 5% who speak Swedish.
Right.
Number 36. The Finnish language is one of the few European languages that does not belong to the Indo-European language family. Instead, it's a part of the Finno-Ugric language group. Yeah, but you didn't expect that, did ya? It's closely related to Estonian and a few other minority languages spoken around the Baltic Sea, and more distinctly to Hungarian. Number 37. The longest known single-word palindrome, which is a word that reads the same backwards as forward, like Hannah, or that's the only word I can think of, is the 19-letter Finnish word, Lord above, Sopuakivi Kaupias, which refers to a dealer of the caustic soda known as lye. Very useful word then, I can imagine it comes up a lot. Number 38. One of the most important works of Finnish literature, if not the most important, is the Kalevala, a 19th century work of epic poetry compiled by Elias Londrot from Karelian and Finnish oral folklore and mythology. A collection of stories, poems and songs, including a creation myth asserting that the world was created from the broken shard of a duck egg. The Kalevala played an instrumental role in the development of Finnish
The world was created from the broken shard of a duck egg. Very interesting.
identity, and to this day is still studied in Finnish schools. Number 39. Interestingly, legendary English author and language nerd J.R.R. Tolkien based the High Elvish language featured in The Lord of the Rings on the Finnish language, drawing inspiration from the Kalevala. He was mad cultured, that Tolkien.
Did not know that. Okay. That's interesting.
Number 40. The country of Finland is the 8th largest in Europe, yet it's the European Union's most sparsely populated nation. Very big on personal space, the Finns. Well, unless you're naked. Okay, that sounds weird out of context, but we're getting to it. Number 41. Finland is home to not 1, not 2, but 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. 6 of them cultural and 1 is all natural, baby. Examples include the Bronze Age burial site of Samaladenmarki, the fortress of Suomenlinna, and the Kvarken Archipelago.
Wow. Look at that.
Which I hear is lovely this time of year. The meaning of life. Finland boasts a whopping 187,888 lakes that are larger than
187,000. What?